So, sir, I welcome you to my podcast, and I'm really thankful that you gave me time to come for this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Chandan. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
So I
It's
have
a
read,
pleasure.
so I have read so many things about you, and I saw your LinkedIn ID also, and I was mind blown.
Right.
Like how, I was like, what a person is this? I was really thinking like this. So
Okay.
I saw that you have a startup, right? So tell
Right.
us about that, about your startup, like what you do.
Yeah. So we have an assistive technology startup. It's
Okay.
named as Stressor Labs, and we work for persons with print disabilities.
Hmm.
And we have developed a solution called Kibo. Kibo
Hmm.
enables a person with print disability to read any kind of text, either in print or in handwritten text, or think of reading a PDF file. So
Hmm.
it also enables you to read PDF files. So for an example, like if you just close your eyes and try reading anything, so
Hmm.
you won't be able to read it, right? So this is the same challenge
Hmm.
which is there with millions of people all across the globe
Hmm.
who are suffering with visual disabilities.
Hmm.
So so what we have done is we have created solutions
Hmm.
called Kibo Access and Kibo device.
Okay.
So when you place any paper under it, it converts it into e-text, and then
Okay.
the person can listen to it. So the solutions are available,
Hmm.
and you can visit our websites for availing these solutions.
So
Yeah.
it's like I have a page in front of me and I just place your product that you have made on that page and it reads out what it is written.
Yes.
Okay.
So persons with print disabilities, when we
Hmm.
went out, we saw that there are a lot of challenges in
Hmm.
accessing content.
Yes, they
So
are.
there are solutions like Braille book and audio books which are available, but
Yes.
they are not real time. Basically, somebody needs to create an audio book or somebody needs to create
Yes.
a Braille book for a
Yes, sir.
person with blindness.
Yes.
But if something is lying in front of you,
Hmm.
for an example, somebody just gave you a cash memo or a bill, so how would you read it? So what we have done is we have built a Kibo mobile app where you
Okay.
can just place the paper under your phone,
Yes.
and then you can just listen to it, whatever is written on that paper, and it works in all Indian languages, most
Okay.
of them,
Okay.
and we have empowered more than 20,000 persons with print disabilities in the past 1 year,
That's great. That's
and
great.
they use it for various purposes. Like for an
Hmm.
example, there is a teacher who is using it for checking answer sheets. There
Okay.
is a student who reads his books and class notes through that,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of other people, like office going people who actually convert their official documents and access them. And for
Okay.
an example, like if so you I don't think, like you would be aware of um, you would be aware of talkback feature on smartphones, which
Yes.
enables
Yes.
a person with print disability to actually read content. So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
they can actually use smartphones,
Okay.
and these smartphones have changed their lives. It's a
Yes.
revolution for them
Yes. Yes.
because everything which is available on either on internet or on apps is now
Hmm.
accessible to them using
Yes.
that
Yes.
those solutions. And if you go across and see, like on WhatsApp, somebody has sent you an image as
Hmm.
simple as a good morning message
Yes. Yes.
as an image, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we can see it, but what about a person with print disability? So they would find it challenging. So what they
Hmm.
can do is they can share their content from there,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they can actually listen to that content on our platform. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it will tell everything to them in the form of a voice.
Yes.
Okay. So I have this thing in mind that you are making a products to assist the blind people. Okay.
Right.
My point is why how did this came to your mind that you want to make things for blind people? Means
Right.
how out of all those things there are so many types of abilities, right? So
Right.
how did you choose to just go for this? Like,
Right. So when after college, I basically joined TCS Foundations Initiative.
Yes.
It's called Digital Impact Square. So
Okay.
over there, we were working with a group of visually impaired persons
Mm-hmm.
to actually understand what are the challenges in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And we met exceptional people like Dr. Charudata Jadhav over there, who himself was visually impaired and had global accessibility for TCS.
Okay.
And over there, he actually became a mentor, and he actually told a lot of other things
Mm-hmm.
so that we enhanced our scope of knowledge in this domain,
Mm-hmm.
through which we went across to the people at National Institute for the Blind in Nasik, and we, understood the challenge much more deeply over there. And for an example, when we went over there, we
Mm-hmm.
found that there are readers which are able to read English, but they are
Okay.
imported from different parts of the world.
Yes.
They are
Yes.
not manufactured in India, and they
Yes.
cost millions of rupees.
Yes. Yes.
So then we thought, like, why can't something like this can be created in India for Indians?
Yes.
That means it,
Obviously.
it should support Indian languages.
Plus a
So
cost factor also.
right. So what we have achieved in past 2 years is that we have basically reduced the cost around to 1/8 of the readers which were available in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, we have also, provided a free solution on Play Store, and now we are developing it for iOS for
Okay.
persons with print disabilities who are from low income settings,
Okay.
who are
Okay.
using smartphones, but they don't have access to, reading till
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Right.
So as you talked about the about the TCS, right? You were there at you were at the TCS Foundation. I know you were there as social innovator. So
Right.
what was your role there? Like, what does the social innovator do? Like, that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to know.
So over there at Digital Impact Square, young engineers and students from management, students from a design background, they are given an opportunity to actually understand a particular social problem,
Okay.
and then find a solution for it. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
1 year program through
Okay.
which you have to get enrolled, and then you have to get selected, and things go ahead. If things go ahead, you are selected, and over there you actually form a team,
Okay.
and then you work on the same challenge. Like, in your team there will be people from design,
Mm-hmm.
from management,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously the engineers,
Mm-hmm.
and we all work together to actually solve a particular social challenge. For an
Mm-hmm.
example, I met my co-founders over there,
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie and Akshita, who
Mm-hmm.
who are with me now, and we are working together to solve this challenge. And so
Okay.
there we formed our team,
Mm-hmm.
and after that we kick-started with the support of mentors over there. We
Mm-hmm.
kick-started our project.
Mm-hmm.
We work on the user studies, and then after that prototyping, and
Mm-hmm.
then creating a better solution, then moving ahead, and it goes as a cycle, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then going to the market,
Yeah.
making our first sale. So
Mm-hmm.
all those things were, like, really important, and that was the part of the journey at Digital Impact Square at TCS Foundation.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So you have also been what we call as an incubatee.
Yeah.
Incubatee.
Yeah.
If I've spelled it right. So
Yeah.
what is an incubatee? What is that thing? What does it do, and what's the role of
Yeah.
incubatee?
So for this, I think what I would like to tell about is what is an incubator first. So an
Yes.
incubator is a place where a young company goes,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually build themselves, then grow themselves, and then so that they can go ahead and sustain uh,
Mm-hmm.
and create a value out of it. So over there are a lot of tools which are provided, like, and also there's a lot of mentor support which is provided. So
Okay.
these incubators are set up as technology business incubators in India by the government of India, and some of the incubators are also privately funded,
Mm-hmm.
K Startup and T Hub and a lot of others. So these incubators, they support young companies to actually grow. Unlimited India basically supported us. So
Okay.
I was an incubator over there. So I think you're referring to that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So does that mean that, like if I want to start my own stuff, like, so I
Yes.
can so I can call them, or talk to
Yes.
them
Yes.
to get this
Definitely.
kind of scores. So
Yes.
how does a person like me, who knows nothing about all of this, will go and talk to them and get to all of this stuff? So how does
For
this
an
happen?
yes. To start a company, you need one idea at least, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
need something which is there with you, as like, this is the domain in which you want to work, and this is the problem you are going to solve.
yes.
So
I
if you
have.
have these two things, so you are already in a mode that you can apply to these incubators.
Okay.
So there are various stages at these incubators. Like for
Hmm.
an example, there is initial stage at which it's called as ideation. So
Okay.
in ideation, you can directly apply as an ideator and go ahead, uh, submit your idea to them, and then they can select you.
Hmm.
And sometimes there is also funding which is provided
Okay.
uh, for actually going ahead and implementing that idea.
Hmm.
And then after that, there is build stage, in which you build your own company, you set up processes, you set up things, and then you grow.
Hmm.
So these are the various stages at which you can apply. And there is another stage which is called an accelerator. And
Okay.
accelerator is for a company which is already established, which,
Okay.
who is having a some amount of customers, and now they want to accelerate their growth.
Hmm.
So there are various forms of incubation support which is provided, and there are more than hundreds of incubators. You can just search on Google, like for example, you can search for top 20 incubators,
Okay.
and these incubators, they are open for applications, like twice a year or thrice a year. So
Hmm.
you can apply. They have a form. You can
Hmm.
directly apply through that form. Then if they like your project, they will get back to you and call.
So
So
incubator is kind of a building. So they give you a space in that building, along with
yeah.
some things like electricity, Wi-Fi, and this table chair and all that stuff. Yeah, you stay here for some time. We are not taking anything from you, and you try to build your stuff. Am I right?
Yeah, so
Or
it's yeah, no, it's more than that.
okay,
Basically, building and other amenities you can get anywhere else also, right?
okay,
So at incubation, you actually get support from mentors. You like these
okay.
incubators also have very good mentors. For an example, at TCS Foundation,
Hmm.
we were having mentor as Dr. Charulata Jadhav and
Okay,
Mr. Bhanu Prasad.
okay,
So Mr. Bhanu Prasad, he was actually uh, you know, uh, uh, a pretty experienced person in the domain of social innovation, and
okay.
he supported us
Hmm.
in actually a lot of stuff.
Okay,
So
okay.
so that's how and he's still connected. He helps us uh, all together. Now he is in at University of Oxford. He is doing his masters.
Okay.
So so you get a very good mentor support from these incubators. Secondly is like one is uh, so there are two types of mentorships. One is
Hmm.
technology mentorship, and other is business mentorship.
Okay.
So you need both kinds of mentors, and another
Yes.
is design mentorship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these all mentorships are required by any company who is trying to build any hardware or a software piece, and they actually give you an perspective of how the companies which have already grown
Mm-hmm.
actually work, and what you can do differently
Mm-hmm.
to actually go ahead and do something unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these all things are really important in terms of a new startup,
Okay.
because there are a lot of people who have already tried to implement any idea and gone ahead and implemented that. But to understand whether your solution is unique, whether it will
Mm-hmm.
work or not, you start doing small pilots. Pilots means basically you choose one district or
Okay.
one locality and
Mm-hmm.
try to implement your solution over there and see the
Okay.
results, so that your
Okay.
investment is low
Mm-hmm.
and you get the understanding by understanding by
What
applying
can be
some
the
data
output?
analytics,
Mm-hmm.
what is the output at one place. So
Mm-hmm.
so these all things you learn over there. You
Okay.
won't get this education at an engineering college or any regular place. So
Mhm.
so for a young student, it's very important to go through the phase of incubator so
Okay.
that the risk is low and they understand they get an environment to actually build
Mhm.
themselves,
Mhm.
right? So,
Okay.
but there are a lot of people who actually don't apply for incubations
Mhm.
and they directly go ahead because they already know what they are doing. They understand what is the what actually is need to be done, and then they can go ahead and directly implement that.
So
But
how?
if you need some kind of a support, then yeah, incubators are the right place to go ahead.
Okay, so what I was going to ask, and you just answered it, that how will I know that do I need an incubator or not for my work? So that's what you said. कि हाँ, if we have that basic things with us, then we might not
See,
need.
so there are two things which are important for any company or a startup. One is the change which they want to see in the world, right?
Yes, yes.
Whatever they want to build, and other is the business value proposition. Okay,
Okay.
so if you have a good business model
Mm-hmm.
which requires low investment, you already have investment,
Mm-hmm.
you already know what is need to be done in the market, what is the market need, and you have a solution for it. If you have these three things, you can directly go ahead, rent a place, and start
Mm-hmm.
implementing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have this all, and you need to understand, from people like, for an example, you are going and building something for the healthcare sector. So it will
Okay.
be great, if you can go ahead and do something in the healthcare segment, or an incubator which specializes in healthcare segment. So there are incubators who actually specialize in a particular segment.
Okay,
So for
okay.
example, agri-tech,
Uh,
healthcare, education, edutech.
okay,
So
okay.
so they actually you can go ahead and apply in
And
those
which
incubators.
are specialist to our field.
Yes, your field
So this
in the
is
domain which you are working.
this is very so this is very the first thing that the type of work that you want to do, or the
Yes,
type of thing, and the domain of that incubator should match, so that you
yes,
can find good persons there who will guide you through
exactly.
this stuff.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
right.
So that's great. So that's great. Means like anybody can fill their form and go through them. And if they
Yes,
feel that this work is good enough to be done, then they are going to support you, right?
yeah. And there are a
So.
lot of incubators who actually, who provide office space,
Mhm,
and their selection process is pretty simple.
mhm.
But they charge some rent and all.
Okay.
But they are also a good place to go ahead if you are clear with your business propositions and
So incubators are like this, like some charge and some don't charge.
yeah. So it
Okay.
depends on their fundings. So if they are
Okay.
getting some funding from the government, then they won't charge. If they are a private incubator, they might charge. And
Okay.
if you already have a funding, right,
Uh-huh.
and like you go to an investor
Uh-huh.
and you apply for funding,
Mhm.
uh, and you already have some funding support, then you can actually use an incubation space to actually implement your idea.
Okay. Okay.
So incubators can play a lot of roles. So
Mhm.
it's in between. It's like a catalyst which will
Okay.
support you
Mhm.
to actually implement whatever you want to do.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So that's great. That's great. If any of those who are listening to this podcast, if you are planning, if you have any idea, and if you feel that something can be done, you can also go and try and look for
right,
some of the
right,
incubators. That's great. That's great. So you were also there at IIT Delhi, right?
right.
So what was your experience there, and how that work that you did at IIT Delhi helped you in what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So I basically I my story is a little bit different. I worked as a project associate at IIT Delhi.
Okay.
So over there I was actually working with Professor Balakrishnan
Mm-hmm.
and in the assistive technology group.
Mm-hmm.
And the work over there was to actually understand what are the things which are needed to be done in terms of building new assistive technologies. So it was more on the user studies and understanding the segment itself, the vision disability segment itself. So this helped me to understand the overall perspective of the visually impaired community. in and and the technology solutions and the assisted technology space over basically how it operates and how the things go ahead. So that was the reason of going there and understanding things what need to be done, and from there. As I talk about IIT, obviously IIT is a great campus and for students is really good. But for me, it was more of an experience of user-centric research uh,
Okay.
over there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's great. So you were also a research intern at IOCL. So you have been
Yeah.
to a lab of IOCL and also
Yes.
to a lab of IIT Delhi.
Right.
So what I have in my mind, like how same or how different are both of them? A lab at IOCL
Yeah.
and a lab at IIT Delhi.
Sure. So at IIT, the labs are pretty open. Like for an example, like you can work on any kind of a domain, right?
Okay.
For an example, if you are interested in a particular research topic, you have a
Mm-hmm.
lab for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at IOCL, the labs are designed to actually support the IOCL
Work.
work. So they are into like pipelines or chemical engineering or into the things which are important for petroleum studies, right?
Okay. So
So yeah, this is the difference. This is the core difference. And the at IIT, it's more of a kind of an academic institution, and the research is focused on academics. But
mm-hmm.
at IOCL, the research is not focused on academics. It's more
Mm-hmm.
focused on uh, improving the optimizing the processes, improving a particular functionality, or
Okay.
supporting a particular like so for example, IOCL is having a pipelines lab. Over
Mm-hmm.
there, they study how to transfer petroleum efficiently through cities, right?
Okay.
So similarly, there are a lot of other things which are there, which happen. So, but at IIT, it will be more of academic centric research. But now, as IITs are also having great incubators,
Mm-hmm.
every IIT is having one incubator these days. So now the things are also moving to the application centric research,
Okay.
um, translation research, which is called. In general.
So what you mean to say that IIT has diverse labs as compared
Yes,
to IOCL.
right,
IOCL lab will be more focused on the petroleum piping and all that stuff. While
right.
in the case of an IIT, they have a lab for everything that they want to
Yes.
do. Okay, that's great actually. So one of the things that I had in my mind that you worked in all of these places like at IIT, at IOCL, then at the T, and then at the T, and then at the TCS. When did this came into your mind that okay, now I want to do my own startup? Like how you that thing came into your mind? Yeah, अब startup करना.
So I was at TCS Foundation's initiative, Digital Impact Square in Nasik.
Okay.
So for a startup, you need a great team with you, right? Otherwise, there are a lot of things which come as an apprehension in your mind, like how alone you will be able to survive this and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find good teammates and if you
Mm-hmm.
find them anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you can go ahead and build a startup. So it's very
Okay.
important to have a team to create a startup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who have done it alone, but they
Mm-hmm.
have lot of guts in them. But for a general purpose, the general person, you know, having a team is very important.
Okay.
So if you find a great team, I think you are good to go to continue for a startup. And
Mm-hmm.
other thing is like uh, there are a lot of things. For me, it was like I I actually got placed in some companies, but I never joined them because I was more focused into social innovation and entrepreneurship,
Okay.
which led me to actually build solutions. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to actually take a solution to the market, you need a
Mm-hmm.
startup for it.
Okay.
So there were a lot of positive things which happened at that time, uh, which enabled us to create a startup.
Okay. So the thing is, I got that how, so was it always in your mind that I wanted to do a startup,
No,
or someday
no,
you had okay, I can't work for them, so I'll work for myself? How did
no,
this
no,
thing came?
no. It was never like this. It was generated from the ground. Like we wanted the solution to actually go to people, right?
Okay.
And we need an instrument for it, and the
Okay.
instrument was Trestle Labs,
Okay.
right? So we created Trestle Labs so that we can take this technology,
Uh-huh.
build this technology,
Uh-huh.
and take it to the people.
Okay.
Uh, so that's why the Trestle Labs was created, and then we went ahead, and now we have successful amount of users now.
So person like me, okay, I also may have some of these ideas that I know that
Right.
can work if I can try all of them.
Yes.
But there is a risk in having a startup, right? It is a lot of risk when we are going for our own startup. So I may not be ready to take that risk due to various factors like family and personal and all that stuff.
Right.
So a person can also think like, okay, I'll join some company, I'll work there, and I will put this project as a part of that company. So
Right.
did this not came in your mind, or you were like, no, I had to do a startup only, right?
So for us, the idea of startup came when we actually wanted to implement this and take it to the people, right?
Okay.
Uh, but for everyone, at least they need an idea, and
Mm-hmm.
if they find a company which is already doing good,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there are two options for you.
Mm-hmm.
One, if you find a company which is already in the domain, you can patent your technology and then give it to the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for that, you don't have to take any of the risks. You can
Mm-hmm.
keep on doing more research.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and implement the next project. So if you're a core researcher, you can go ahead, patent it, and then do the technology transfer to a good company so that they implement it and take it ahead. But
Okay.
if you actually want to drive that change yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have that uh, that fear in your head, like
The
that
risk
if I start
factor.
driving this,
Uh,
the risk
uh,
factor, then you can go ahead
okay.
and do that. So these options are always available. So it's not that you have to create a startup to actually do anything on ground. So there are a lot of other things which can be done.
So if I don't have a risk factor in my mind, I can go for the startup thing.
So for
And
a startup, there is always a risk. So even if we
yes,
are
yes.
here 3 years down the line, we still have risk of a lot of other things. But yes, we have reduced the level of risk in these 3 years to minimal. But for every startup, there is a risk always. Like for any company, right? The bigger companies have less risk, and the
Mhm.
smaller companies are having a higher amount of risk
Okay.
initially,
Okay.
right?
So what I was trying to summarize, like if I can take this much amount of risk, like right, I can take that, so then I can think of starting my own startup, right? And if I
And
know,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, and the other thing is the team.
yes, and I
So
have the
if
team.
you
Okay.
have a good team with you,
Uh-huh.
uh, then and the team, it actually you have to create a team. It doesn't come like in hand, right? It's
Okay.
not like you will go somewhere and then you will find your teammates. So
Okay.
it's more of like you have to create your own team. You have to
Okay.
find people. So think of a startup as a machinery, right?
Okay.
And you will need a lot of parts to it to actually make it function.
Okay.
So a good team is needed to actually make all the things functional in a
Okay.
startup. So for an example, you are you have somebody from marketing, you have somebody from product development, you have somebody from design, you have somebody from customer experience services management. So like this, so these people will actually club form a team so that the product is given to the people.
Okay.
It reaches people, it solves their needs, Yeah.
So is if I have the team and if I can take the risk, I can think of a startup. But if I don't have these things, then I can work on it and get it
Yes.
in a form of
Yes.
a pay.
Yes.
I get it in a form of a patent, and then give it to some company. Ki, हाँ, you work on this. So
Yeah.
these are the things that I had that anybody can have if they have an idea and they actually wanted to work on that. Okay.
Right.
So I saw one thing like you have done so many courses online, courses from EDX, from Coursera, all these kind of
Right.
websites.
Right.
So during this long lockdown time, these things have come up so much. Like
Right.
earlier also they used to be there, but now people are so much aware of them and know about them, and they are doing it. What I have in my mind is how much are these courses worth it and how they have helped you in the kind of work that you are doing.
Right. So basically, I started doing online courses in 2015 when I was
Okay.
in, I think, second or third year in my college,
Okay.
and I, started learning online.
Mm-hmm.
The need over there was actually I wanted to learn things which, I wanted to understand, what's going in the industry,
Okay.
and the college courses they don't offer that, right?
Yep. Yes.
So I started learning them,
Mm-hmm.
and I have done a degree in instrumentation, but I was actually interested in machine learning, AI, and lot of other things. So which was not available as the courses in my
Yes.
study group.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
so that was the need actually at that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I started doing some courses, I liked them, and then I keep on doing more and more courses
Okay.
about yeah, in lockdown actually the old educational systems have actually failed. So
Yes.
at this moment it's great to actually uh, go ahead and do online courses because they have the right updated content,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually useful, and
Okay.
and it's designed in pretty good fashion, like
Okay.
after. So it's not like mugging up, but you do a particular class, then you solve answers for it, or in between there are some questions. So it
Mm-hmm.
actually increases the understanding level of the particular subject, uh,
Okay.
uh, and uh, and you can do it at your home, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this actually enables you to save a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
time, energy, a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a
So
great option.
these are actually worth of the time and all that stuff
Yes,
and
yes.
money. Okay. Okay. So
It
I
depends. If there's one more thing, if you like a particular subject,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and you went ahead and tried one course,
Okay.
and after 1 week you realize, like, this course is not fulfilling my need,
Mm-hmm.
or this course is not something which I actually wanted to do. You can just unenroll yourself. So
Okay.
it's pretty simple, right? So
Okay.
it's not like you have to do the complete course, right? And you can
Okay.
also audit courses. So these courses are
Yes.
really helpful. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I was reading a fact from the website of Udemy. So the fact goes like this, that the courses that users buy and the courses and out of them only 4% of the users actually
Yeah.
complete that course. Is
Right.
buy, everybody does, but only 4% of them actually complete that course and do it in the full. Most of
Right.
us just buy it and never touch it again. So this is
Yeah.
one fact over there.
So actually, sometimes people actually complete the courses. They take video lectures, but they don't solve quiz, right?
Okay.
Because they are not interested in certifications,
Uh-huh.
or or the course content itself is good, but the the questions in the quiz or the other things are really tough,
Mm-hmm.
and you just wanted to get overall understanding of the subject. You don't want actually the analytical understanding, because you are not actually going to implement that. You just need that basic understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's natural. Sometimes people, if they want to take the course credit, and that
Mm-hmm.
credit is actually helping them in getting a degree, then they would definitely go ahead and complete the course. But if they just want the knowledge of that particular thing, then they can just watch videos and go ahead.
So
So
does
this
these
is the thing.
courses, does the business certificate from these courses, they
Yeah.
help when we go out in for a job or something like this? If we look, if we look
Yes,
at this.
yeah, they actually do help, because it shows to the employer that you actually are interested in the topic,
Okay.
and you have completed it, right? So completion of an online certificate is good,
Okay.
but parallelly so for somebody to get employed, there's a
Mm-hmm.
need of, like, the employer itself, who actually
Mm-hmm.
wants to employ that person. So that
Mm-hmm.
need is also need to be fulfilled. If
Yes.
you go ahead with just basic understanding and only the courses, and you're not actually able to do a job which
Mm-hmm.
is given to that given you're not qualified enough to actually implement that. So it's more important to you go ahead and get your hands dirty in the projects,
Okay.
small projects. For an example, you are a software developer, you go ahead and implement that particular software
Mm-hmm.
as an example, and put that on GitHub, show them as an thing. Or if you're a hardware developer, then you can have your own website. You can put solutions on Instructables or other websites which are there, in which you can show people, like, see, I have done this thing. So that the employers are attracted to you,
Mm-hmm.
and they employ you, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I saw that you have a certificate from AMCAT. I didn't knew about this. I didn't knew about this website. I came to know after I saw your profile. So I know that they are giving some kind of certifications for English and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
how much useful is that certificate in the term of jobs and all that stuff?
Yes. So I got AMCAT certifications when I was in college, in, I think, in my final year.
Okay.
So basically they were helpful during the time of placements and all, and
Okay.
they actually AMCAT actually uh, if you are qualified as in a particular certificate, they actually call some companies,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go ahead and apply to those companies. So AMCAT provides that service. I don't know
Okay.
about the current position, how the
Mm-hmm.
things are there, but in
Mm-hmm.
2016 when I applied, I was actually called for some interviews through AMCAT,
Okay. Okay.
for on-campus placement and also for off-campus placements.
So you did these things when you were in the stage of your placement. So a scholar or an MTech person who is right now doing research. So will this certification be useful for that person also?
No, I don't think so, because you actually, when somebody is going for research,
Mm-hmm.
the core motive is, either, go ahead and,
Mm-hmm.
build new things.
Okay.
So it's not employment, right? So,
Yes.
and for next, like, for example, you're going to enroll in your PhD.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, for at least for next 3-4 years, you'll be focused on doing particular research. You're not
Yes.
going to
Yes.
apply for any job, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, or for an MTech person,
Mm-hmm.
MTech people also have a good placements from different
Yes. Yes.
colleges. So
Yes.
this is good at undergrad level, I think.
Okay.
This is like, for a master's degree person, you already have a master's degree in a particular domain. You are already
Mm-hmm.
certified as for
Mm-hmm.
a degree. A certification won't help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
if you have a basic degree in a particular domain, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and if you want to do a job in a different domain, for an example, you have uh, a degree in electrical engineering, and you want to go ahead and become a business development manager. So
Okay.
at that point of time,
Mm-hmm.
these certifications will help you in getting the job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was also something new that I learned while talking to you.
Thank you.
So this is all that I have to ask you as a part of this podcast. So once again, I thank you for giving me time
Thank you.
and coming to this podcast. It was so much fun to talk to you, and I wish you the very best luck for your startup. And I
Yeah.
hope to
Thank you. Thanks
see
a lot,
and
Chinmay.
I hope to see your startup in some list so very soon.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
so with this, I'll wrap the podcast, and once again, I'll thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.